stand this way. Now there's another fella down the path that day against Galway, Middleton, John Hacknett. This way, I remember saying, oh holy God, for the first way he stood this way. He was in a good bit. But he lifts it and he badly hit it but went over the bar. He got another free and went after. Because look what's happening. If your shoulders aren't in line with it, if you're facing this way, when you lift it, unless you must come around now. And how far do you go? That's the point. And often they go too far left. There's a lad playing with Kerry, Sean O'Flaherty. I know him very well because it's down Kerry. Sean again, he played our team last year in the club chapter. Was it last year? Last year's, sorry, year before last year in the championship, in the club championship. And he was taking frees, and he again was this little bit this way. And I didn't say anything until the match was over. I was just saying to him, and he said, "Oh Christ, that's right, I remember you saying that loud." He was putting him wide. You think I was going to tell him, oh bloody way? That's a sin. You see, it's the same as pulling on the ground. If I'm going to end up pulling on that ball, look, now, that's fair enough. Mine is 2 feet. A common mistake, one of the girls was doing it again, is I'm going to hit the ball, the foot is back here. You see, there's no real balance, first of all, and you won't come into the ball right now. But look, that's your job now, to make sure that you see, if you're hitting from the left side, that this elbow is, again, and don't forget to go out through it. And the other thing was, keep your eye on the ball to this hit. There are senior intercounty players and they're hitting the ball, and they're not watching the ball. They're actually watching the ball. Good friend of mine, Tomas Marius, plays the bars, and Tomas often talks to me about, and I'd be telling him that he didn't watch the ball long enough. Isn't that a strange thing? At this time of the year, it's terribly hard. If you can hit the ball well out of your hand today, you're a marvellous person. Because a week from hurling is an age, and all that time, I mean, when you think of it, there's an awful lot of coordination in hurling. No wonder you'd find it hard. There's an awful lot of coordination of eye, hand, shoulder. Now, the whole blooming thing is very difficult. The ball is rather small. Now, lads, another little skill on the ground hurling is, and you'll be wondering what you do with kids, because that's what you want, isn't it? Now, one thing I know, you could spend, say, 5 minutes on that. Now, 5 minutes isn't long. And actually, you'd be amazed how quickly it goes if they're busy. And again, your job will be walking up and down between the pairs and say, "Come on, Tom, or John, or whatever it is, that's it. A bit faster, go to stop and give it a tip, have a peep, back again. Quickening it up, and stopping the ball. Oh, and the next thing I was going to say to you lads, and it might be hard to do it here or any other pitch at this time of the year, and I just want to tell you about it because it's very important, and that is lifting it when it's rolling on the ground. And what you do for this now is, just to give you the, the important points, I'm waiting to receive the ball. I'll hold it in the at ease. I won't be going around all day this way. You'll never go around all day that way. That's the at ease position. Or that way, you might have to scratch a bit or rub the old face a bit or whatever it might be like, But as the ball comes towards you, you must get in line with the flight of the ball, if you can. The big idea is get your body and hold it behind. Now look at this thing again I was saying. Look where the thumbs are. Because even with that alone should help you, that firms, and it's right down the boss. Down as far as you can, and you must bend a little bit as well. Because when the ball strikes that, it will come up and it will fall into your hand. You don't grab down ever. But we try and see could I make a mess of that. Sorry, you can just throw me one to this here now, along the ground. It'll fall into my hand. Just wait, I'll try it in you now. And again, you're waiting, God knows what way it'll come, but as it comes, you get down with put it nose to the ground. And if it doesn't hit that, it might hit here, Watch again, here we go. Sorry, my fault there, absolutely. I didn't do it fast enough. Because if you roll it along the ground, that's it. I might make a mess, I don't mind. No, I made a mess of that, but at least I stopped. See, the ground's bumpy, lads, that's the whole point. Ooh, I made a mess of it, I stopped. Because the ground is bumpy. See, it bounces up. You have to do it here, but I'd love you to try it anyway, because, see, again, to come up, it should come up, but it's hard now with the ground a bit solid, a bit hard and bumpy, as every ground is. But we'll just try another one, because, and actually for a start now, you'd actually throw the ball to give you confidence. Because an ideal place for this would be a bit of concrete. Because then to roll and you get the confidence, bloody confidence, isn't it? And would you like me to, I'll throw that to you to see how it goes. Now, as I say, it's hard in the ground, but Good man. Now, there's another thing to remember. If the ball is going fast, the straighter your hurl. If it's going very slowly, you must have a snap. Otherwise, if it's going fast, it'll go right past it, won't it? Throw to me, I make it right. Passionate. Yeah. That, again, it's important. You see, the ground is bumpy. And we'll try again. Good man. All right. And listen, mistakes. Any fellow who thinks he can doesn't make a mistake in count. Because every match, going a bit too slowly, I should have a bit faster. Good man. It'll go back now. You see what happened there? And it'll go back all the way. Keep it. Watch my hurl if you can. Oh, I made a bag of it again. But never mind. Never mind. I never mind these things. It'll go back if you have it too standard. Have it fairly. And look, that come down here. Oh, my goodness. Right. But now, will we try that now? Just a little of that. For about what? 2 minutes? Have you a partner? You have, sir. But the old time was a partner. You can be. After a while then, lads, you see, we're through an intermediate team, you'll be hitting it. By the time we're hitting it, that's it right now. And the next thing then, lads, as you get good at that, and try and keep your feet together and keep them in line, you know? It's not hard now, because it's bound to roll, you know? Come in a bit nearer, lads. I tell you, you can only do this way because there's less grass here, you know? And actually, please God, you'll give that a rolling. Roll it fairly fast, lads, you know? And don't worry about mistakes. Who the hell cares? Good girl, you're great. And don't you try to, because you're a good stick woman, is if you try turning it this way, I always found more control. You mightn't, and don't worry, you can go back to your other way again. Sorry. You want to put the hand very low on the ground like that, you know? Keep watching. Watch the ball now. That's two bounces now. Good girl, right? Excellent. Good girl. Very good. Oh, for God's sake, you're good. Great. Keep the hurley very low now. And actually, you know, if you want to catch it this way, I didn't say it, that's your catching hand, really. You can see what happened otherwise. Well, otherwise, if you watch when you catch it, in order to hit it, if you catch it, now, look, when you're going to hit it now, you must hit that, and put the ball out. Where you're trying to deal with a ball that's to your right or to your left. Now that's terribly hard to manage. But again, I must tell you that if you're playing corner forward or corner back, the stopping of the ball is one job you must better do. Because stopping, and the second part of it is stopping and controlling. That's the vital thing. You can stop a ball, John Speedy up tip, stops the ball, didn't going over the bar. Good man, John. Oh, hard look, John. Hey, come out here. Who's coming in? My old buddy from Shawnee O'Leary, in the back of the net. Save the point at the expense of a goal. See? So stopping and controlling is vital, sort of. No, the idea here, lads, is that with one hand, you'd lean over to your right. Oh. And you want to be lucky, wouldn't you? Because if it bounces over the hull, you're lost. That's why I say, if you could move it much better always, you know. But however, putting the hurley down, the ball will obligingly hop up, and you'll reach over, you're moving, and you'll take it out. That's the theory. When we see the practice, we throw the ball here till we see what mess I'm making it. And you can do the same. It's about here now, say, you know. That's it. Oh, I stopped it at least. At least I stopped it, but this is the trouble. Concrete is great for this, lad. Oh! I blame all these things. Look, at least. Now, that's very difficult here, lads, because it's bound to be uneven. It's absolutely bound. I wouldn't dwell too long on that. I wouldn't. I'd rather this one, because this is going to come in handy to you when it comes to coming out to a ball, as every hurler must. And you come out and you take it in front of you, take it up, and you can do it. And that'll be my practice with your intermediate team if you're getting ready for this year's county final. How about that? That you do that, because if you can manage that ball, you're out of business. I just go back again, you'll be saying there's nothing so dull as just putting on the ground and so on. Oh, grand. But I tell you, I know a fellow on the Cork team who doesn't like putting on the ground. He's from Middleton, he's a tall fellow and he's foxy. Would you say he loves putting on the ground? Would you say he loves putting on the ground? No. How did he get the first goal? Do you remember? Quick pull. Now, it was only a small pull, it was quick. Nobody could stop. And why did he do it? Because he knew he could. And how did he reach the stage where he knew he could? Because Johnny Clifford would kick him if he didn't do it down in training. That's why. He had to pull on the ground, do a certain amount of ground holding in training. And when it came to it then, and this is why I always say to guys, I think it's very true, it's marvellous to know, I can pull on that ball if I want to. That's it. Because you can't just legislate, as the fellow said beforehand, for what a fellow does. Now, at the 34th minute, you're to pull in the ground. And the 36th minute, you're to lift up. You can't say things like that. Or you can't say, you must vote now, lad. Saying, Dermot will show you how to do that. And there was, geez, I couldn't do that, she said to me. And I laughed because the lads could hear the whisper. And I explained to him, why did he say that? Because the truth is, he'd never do it in a match. He, Dermot McCutcheon, left half back, would never do it in a match. So the first thought is, I mightn't do it right. And of course, like we said a while ago, you won't do anything that you haven't practiced again and again and again and again. And in other words, you wouldn't have confidence in doing it. But actually he did it very fine, because he could do it, but he never had to do it in the match. Remember Dermot when he played with Cork, and indeed with Black Rock. So all quickness out, up at the stick, the ball hits around, lift it, have a peep, pass or hit, you know. In other words, he wouldn't be the guy for spectacular pulling in the air. Let's have a nice pull, and I hope I hit it. And if you're on a fellow like that who always pulls in the air against the ball, you'll beat him, if you're any good, very often. But you only have to come in a little bit across him and break his pull, and the ball goes through and it's going the right way for you, and you can run after him, so on. Now, when do we get down to business, lads? We'll be doing lifting, catching. Catching, that's not easy, I know. Terribly easy. It is easy, oh, it is easy, all right. Or it is simple, but it isn't easy. Unless you do it right. I know exactly what to watch for in kids now as well as in yourself, maybe, you know. So there's lifting, and there's catching, and there's striking from the hand. And I suppose if I were to ask, what is the skill? Of all the skills in hurling, that's most important, I'd have to say, I would anyway, striking. Because at the end of the day, you won't win a match unless you score. And unless you strike the ball with some part of your body, you won't score. And above all, if you'd ask me which of the two I'd put more emphasis on, is it hitting points or hitting goals, I'd have to say points. Without any doubt. Because, you see, you could score a goal there now by a fluke. Either a fluke on your part attacking, or a fluke of a miss by one of the backs. There's no way you'll score a point by a fluke, you must strike the ball. And if you can't strike the ball properly, either from the hand or the ground, you can't win matches. And you can't enjoy yourself either. Just happen to be missing. I remember up in Tip last week, talking to the lads, and I was reminding of the Tip lads about the centenary final. Any of you see that, by the way? Yeah, down there, when which Tip won. And I think joined by Pat Moylan from Black Rock. If you don't know who he is, leave the table. I want you to leave the table, because you should, and you do. Pat, you're very welcome. I'm sure that all the lads will have me say for them. And again, if there's any man better to exemplify skill, I'd like to know who he is, because Pat had skill all his life, and you'll never lose it. Until the day he dies, he won't lose it. When that guy is 90, he can still hit the ball the same way. He'd rather that you wouldn't rush him. And he'd rather that you wouldn't punt him, because he mightn't have stamina. But you'll never lose your skill. And it takes a little while to brush it up again. But that's true. But lads, with lifting, the basic lift is the roll lift, 2 hands. Now, that's the basic one. And especially if you're dealing with kids. Now, you won't use this often in a match. In fact, you mightn't use it at all. Will anybody say that you'd ever use this kind of skill in a match? Would you pretend to say you wouldn't use it? You'd pretend to say you wouldn't use it? There you'd be wrong this one. Because you would. But not very often. But it's marvellous to have it. Do you remember Skehan's save, sadly for Cork? Do you remember remember Shawnee Lay was here, there were other chaps, interested parties outside. Now if he went to lift it this way, the other way, he'd arrive out, and Shawnee would make sure he wouldn't go in front, you know, one way or the other. But remember, he rolled it back this way, and then he went out. Now, there was a cat. Do you remember some years ago, I remember anyway, because I remember noticing it, it was a match between Limerick and Galway. And Noel Lane ran with his opponent out to the sideline. And when he got near the line, the ball was there, and the line was just a little further. If he had tried to lift it, he'd be over the line, it's over the ball. So he put the hurl in top, roll this way, the ball around this way, on the hurl another bit and over the bar. I remember that too. And when he's saying that that's a basic lift, and it's the first cousin to the lift for a 70 or for a free. And to practice it right, there are a few things you must remember. First of all, remember we were saying this morning, you must change the grip. Now we'll be doing this in a minute, and we'll see how you manage. And again, because I'm right-handed, I'm talking of, right-handed grip, of course, and so on. But you see those 2 thumbs? That thumb is terribly down here, so you have control of the hurl. And remember we said control is just simply all important. And the next thing is that you bring this foot in line with the ball, but out from it a little bit, of course. And the next thing is that you better bend, because if you don't go down, the ball won't come up. You could say that a million times. If you don't go down, whether you're lifting it this way or any other way, if you don't go bend down, the ball won't come up. You put the hurley on top of it. And another thing to remember, lads, is you'd actually lift it up across that point, not here now. You don't do that. And there's no need to do that. But that you put, and the hurley wouldn't be absolutely flat on it either. But you better bend those knees now, you know, and roll it back. Just put the hurley on top, bring it back fast, and put the hurley against it. Now that's the first thing, look. You want to teach a fellow to lift it, or a boy or a girl, because the girls have much right as the boys to play this game of ours. But that you roll it back and put the hurley against it. Now, it's not this thing at all. Kids don't try to do that a lot, you know, when they don't know. It's that you put the hurley kind of against it, and look, it'll roll up into your hand, and you do not snap down. You just take that hand away, and the ball will fall into it. Especially if you don't keep it dead flat, otherwise it'll roll away this way, you see? So you'll be watching for these things. Look, you bend down, roll it back, and it'll fall into that hand. And now you can start coming up and moving in your 4 steps, and you can do the rest of your play. But that's very important. Look, no good back here now. Oh, I topple out, you know, that's no good now at all. You must go up. Look, you can do that. And I want to see him, and you could get kids to see him. You have 60 seconds, 1 minute in twos. A fella counting here. The other fella, how many can you do? 1, well, down again, 2, and so on. Now that's the basic thing. Do it, and do that fast. Roll it back fast. Put the hurley against it. Roll it back. Look, you see that here now? Not over here now. And it's a help, lads, if you had that a little bit tilted over here. Really good hurlers do it, I think. They kind of, look, they tilt it over. Look, it goes over into my hand. You know, sometimes. If I don't do it right, you must concentrate. Now, that's the basic one with 2 hands. And I'd love if you practice them to see how many would you get up in 1 little minute if you had a watch. Yeah. Something like this now. Okay, but now I can't do it for you. Like this. Like this. Now look at all the work must be done now. The head now, he must put the ball, what do you see now? That must go over here, isn't that right? Yeah. This must go here and this must go back here. There are a whole lot of things to be done. Whereas if he had attached it in the correct hand, this hand, he had it immediately for striking. Trying to remember that. Never let guys get away with catching in the incorrect hand. The one for catching is the hand that's not the dominant hand, the strong hand. This is very important to have it like that. And would you think of this, lad? I know you can lift it the other way. My God, you can lift it that way. Yeah, I know. But, I mean, damn it, there's no point in doing things like that. The important thing is to lift it so that you have the option of hitting it, passing it, or moving with it immediately, you know. So it's very important to, oh good God, it's very important to catch it in the correct hand. Don't snap down the ball now when it comes up. Now lads, the big thing, I suppose the skill I'd love you to practice, because it's the one you would use in matches when you want to keep moving, and that is the jab lift. I hate that word jab, it suggests that. And I don't know, it's probably a lovely handy word, but it's not a great name for it, because it's a rather sliding thing under the ball. And again, if you don't go down now, you're going to be in trouble. And to do it in slow motion, to be that kind of, if you could bring that forward and keep the hurley here, and just slide it underneath. And I honestly tell you, lads, that the best place to slide it is there. See that? It's fairly thick there, isn't it? Oh God, it's strong there, is it? No, it is not. If you try and slide it here, you must turn the hurley at a different angle. And there's no advantage in that, because you're making it more awkward. And secondly, I don't care where you put that ball, whether we get some little hole even, and if it doesn't come up, I'll eat my shoes, and it's really eat the shoes, I'll try it once, it's loud. That's kind of a little holy place, you know. Now, wait till I tell you the critical thing there. The critical thing is that I must watch there, see that place there? Just behind the ball, you must keep your eye on that. The next thing you must do is change your grip, you know about that. If you're right-handed, or if you're left-handed, you change it so that the nose of the hurley is to the left. Now, if you're Gerald McCarthy, and if you were Justin McCarthy, you could lift it with any part of the hurley, including there, I think. And they was lifted that way, but that doesn't mean that it's best for everybody. It's not. That's easier. Now, if I concentrate on bringing it up there, there's no way I'm going to fail, especially if I get down and get the hurley down and slide it. Climb up every time now, and you see, as you carry this thing first, Kenny, use at this time of the year, during the winter months, always lift it with his two hands. Because he wanted to be sure of getting up every time, not just now and then, that wouldn't do, but every time he went for a ball, he wanted to be sure. And then as well as that, he practiced it. And he might be like Philly Grimes 27 or 8 years ago, I remember, when there wasn't a word about coaching, when the word coach was a thing with 4 wheels, 6 wheels, 10 wheels under it, you went to a match in. What he would do every night, he'd throw the ball out, and he'd go after it, and he'd lift it. And then he'd throw it behind him, and go back again, and he'd lift it. And we were wondering, what's wrong with your man? I said, the same way everybody goes, you know. But he was coaching himself. He knew he'd have to do that in the match, so he wanted to do it there too. So lads, Pat would even try it. Now Pat, I won't put you. Pat, watch Pat lifting this ball, because again, he was a sweet striker, but he couldn't strike if he didn't get the ball, and the way you get it is you hunt it, and you can lift it or catch it, and he could do the both of them. And he went down again, and again you notice carefully, he had that little flick into his hand, this kind of a thing here. That he turned it into his hands, you know, which lads will get, you know, after a while. Now, lads, I'd love you to practice that. You needn't kill yourself, but if you get it, if it isn't... Yeah, because that's... And that's only right, you should do it. But you better put a little bit of pressure on yourself now, too. And the next thing you could do, and it isn't a very, what let's say, revolutionary thing to do, is if you had just 2 flags like that, ball in the middle, just 1 ball in the middle. When we do this now, do you see? 1 ball we do it, any old ball will do. Thank you, I have one, thank you. Yeah, but, and say 2 at this side. I want to do 4 volunteers. You. The 2, oh, sorry, I don't want it, Would you go over the other flag, please?
One there.
My last word to you. And
go over there.
An experienced campaigner over on the other flag. That's just, you must pick the best. When you want the best, lads, you know, when you want the best. Now, that's a bit too near, but I don't want anybody killed out. But the idea would be that you would run, lift that ball, leave it down again, and go on to the other flag. Then you would run, pick it, and come on to this flag, pick, lift, leave down, pick, leave down, and then you'd come. Will we try that? Go. And watch, concentrate now, leave it down. And you come on now, you come on. Lift. That's it. Don't forget to go down. You'll be watching if you're coaching. And you'd see he can go down so well. And you must watch it go down. No, that's all that happens. Okay, you come on now. Back again. Watch it now. Yeah. That's very good. Now, 1 second, I will just stop. No, but you might notice that the only reason you had a bit of difficulty was that you didn't go down enough, and that foot must come forward. If you're back here, of course you can lift it, but there's a strain trying to get it, whereas if you're right near it, you have it immediately, you know. But you'd be noticing, we should bring, oh sorry, Pat, you bring up that ball, please, and bring up that one, up to this flag here, you know. What you're trying to do now, lads, is we're trying to get a little relay. If you had, say, 21, you could have 3-7. Great fun, you know. You see, lads, look, we all line up for sprint. I'm certain of one thing anyway, there'll be somebody hiding in the sprint. Won't go all out. You won't hide the relay.
I say there, Billy.
You do your best. Anyway, that's the way it is. We just don't do it no way. Now, have we got one? Oh, we haven't. Oh, gee, sorry, lads, I meant to put 1 here. I'm putting it on. All the contradictory thoughts. Now, that's it. 1 there and 1 below. Now we have it. Okay? Because, I know, but in this type of thing, I do know first. You will run through stages and lift and either bring it on or bring it back. Now, for instance, the way they're fixed now, I'll pick the far off ball and bring it on. This kind of thing, I'll pick that and you'll run to it. Now, anybody not feeling like running, take it easy, it's okay, but any fellow with a bit of able body, you'll lift that ball, okay? And you'll bring it on. Now, and I'll run back to the next one. Back like a hen. Like a bullet, as John McGrath says. Like a bullet. I lift that, turn, bring it back here.